You think dinosaurs were the most terrifying creatures in prehistoric times? Then you are wrong. There was a monster that existed 100 million years before the dinosaurs. It lived its entire life in the ocean. You think sharks are the masters of the sea? Then you are wrong again. In the world of the Dunkleosteus, sharks were nothing more than snacks. You could snap them in half with a single bite. In 2008, scientists conducted a test. They discovered that its bite force reached an astonishing 5,000 kilograms. What does that mean? Even a T-Rex would look like a small fry compared to it. What's even more outrageous is, it had no teeth. It relied solely on two bony plates to slaughter its prey. Paleontologists found inside its fossilized stomach the remains of over a dozen different species. It even cannibalized its own kind. What does this tell us? It means that when it was starving, it wouldn't spare anyone. But that's not the scariest part. It reached lengths of up to 10 meters. Yet it could snap its jaws open in just 0.02 seconds. Before you could even react, you would have already been reduced to pulp. It ruled the oceans for a full 70 million years. Yet 360 million years ago, it went extinct overnight. Scientists still don't know the reason why, but recent studies have discovered that its extinction might be linked to a shocking secret. But before we reveal this secret, you need to know one thing. Everything we thought we knew about the Dunkleosteus was wrong. In February 2023, a PhD student from Case Western Reserve University, Engelman, published a study that shocked the paleontological world. Using a brand new measurement method, he recalculated the body size of the Dunkleosteus. The results left everyone stunned. The true length of the Dunkleosteus wasn't 10 meters. It was only about 3.4 to 4.1 meters. You heard that right. It was only about the length of a family sedan. But don't breathe a sigh of relief just yet, because this isn't good news. It's the beginning of a nightmare. Scientists discovered that the weight of the Dunkleosteus did not decrease along with its length. A Dunkleosteus, 3.4 meters long, weighed between 950 and 1,200 kilograms, equivalent to the weight of a 4.6 meter long great white shark, and the worst part is yet to come. In April 2023, Engelman published another study in a paleontology journal, revealing where the true terror of the Dunkleosteus lay. Its mouth was twice as large as that of a shark of the same size. A 4-meter-long Dunkleosteus had a mouth as wide as an 8-meter-long shark. What does this mean? It means that the Dunkleosteus could attack prey far larger than itself. Imagine this. It's like you opening your mouth and swallowing a person nearly 3 meters tall. What kind of sight would that be? It's hard to even fathom the power of that giant maw. A 2007 study from the University of Chicago showed that the Dunkleosteus had a bite force of a staggering 4,400 newtons. What does that represent? It's equivalent to having a small car crushing your mouth. But the Dunkleosteus didn't have teeth, right? So what did it use to bite? The answer lies in two self-sharpening bony plates. The upper and lower jawbones of the Dunkleosteus formed two razor-sharp plates. These two plates would grind against each other every time it bit down, making the edges sharper and sharper. A 2010 study published in the Journal of Morphology revealed even more terrifying details. The Dunkleosteus used a bite system called a 4-bar linkage. Through this system, the Dunkleosteus could open and close its mouth in just 20 to 60 milliseconds. It takes a human 150 milliseconds to blink. In other words, by the time you blink once, you would have already died 2 or 3 times over. But its true lethal weapon wasn't just the bite force. It was the negative pressure created when it opened its mouth. When the Dunkleosteus opened its giant mouth at such an incredible speed, it created an instantaneous vacuum suction in front of it. This suction would pull everything nearby inside: water, prey, and even rocks. The 2007 study claimed that this rapid opening of the mouth meant it could suck the prey in. Before the prey even realized what was happening, then snap. Game over. Some might ask, with such a fierce monster, what about its defense? The head and front half of the Dunkleosteus were covered in bone armor, several centimeters thick. This material is called dermal bone, as hard as rock, but the most ingenious design was that the back half of its body had no armor, covered instead by flexible muscle. This heavy front light back design gave it surprisingly high maneuverability in the water. A 2023 study also found that the body shape of the Dunkleosteus wasn't like a shark's, but more like a tuna's. A thick trunk, a powerful tail fin, a streamlined body. What does this body type imply? It means the Dunkleosteus was an explosive hunter. It didn't need to chase for long. It relied on instantaneous explosive power in its massive mouth. For a one-hit kill, even more staggering is that the Dunkleosteus was found globally, from Ohio in North America to Belgium in Europe, from Morocco to Poland. Nearly all late Devonian seas contained its fossils. The Cleveland Museum of Natural History houses the largest collection of the highest quality Dunkleosteus fossil specimens in the world. Among them, the largest skull is 60 to 70 centimeters long. So, in such a terrifying era, was there any creature that could contend with the Dunkleosteus? The answer is yes, but none of them were friendly. In the Devonian oceans, there were other equally horrifying monsters, such as sea scorpions, scientifically known as eurypterids. The largest species could grow up to 2.5 meters long. They had massive claws that could crush bone, and perhaps even venomous tail spikes. Worst of all, these sea scorpions didn't just stay in the ocean. Some could crawl onto land. In such an environment, how did your ancestors, those earliest four-legged animals, survive? The answer is, they were forced onto land. In the late Devonian period, some fish began trying to crawl onto land. They evolved strong pectoral fins to support their bodies and evolved primitive lungs to breathe air. But these changes weren't for conquering the land. They were to escape the ocean. Because in the ocean, there were the Dunkleosteus, Bothrialepis, and sea scorpions. Rather than waiting for death in the water, they chose to risk it on land. And just like that, your ancestors were pushed onto land, step by step, while being hunted by these beasts. Every narrow escape left a mark on their nervous system. These marks were passed down through generations, eventually becoming the primal fear circuitry in your brain. So how did the Dunkleosteus, which made countless creatures tremble, finally disappear? The answer lies 375 million years ago, at the end of the Devonian period. During a mass extinction event, this extinction didn't happen in an instant. It consisted of multiple catastrophic events that lasted for millions of years. Scientists discovered that the ocean at the time experienced severe deoxygenation. Massive amounts of algae died, and its decomposition consumed the oxygen in the water. Large predators like the Dunkleosteus needed massive amounts of oxygen to maintain their body functions. The oxygen-depleted environment made it difficult for them to survive. Then came rapid climate change. Evidence shows that the Earth entered an ice age at that time. Sea temperatures plummeted as a cold-blooded animal. The metabolism of the Dunkleosteus slowed down as the water temperature dropped. Its activity levels plummeted. A slow-moving predator would quickly starve to death. The most fatal blow was the collapse of the food chain. The Devonian mass extinction caused about 50 fonteram of marine species to vanish. The food sources for the Dunkleosteus were drastically reduced. And according to fossil evidence, the Dunkleosteus needed to hunt large prey. But large prey were the first to be hit during the mass extinction. Under the triple strike of oxygen deprivation, cooling, and starvation, the Dunkleosteus, the master that ruled the oceans for 50 million years, went completely extinct about 359 million years ago. The entire class of placoderms vanished by the end of the Devonian. Not a single species survived into the Carboniferous period. But they didn't truly disappear, because during those 50 million years, our ancestors, those earliest four-legged animals, were struggling to survive in the shadow of the Dunkleosteus. Every escape, every narrow miss with death, left a mark on their genes. These marks traveled through 359 million years and were finally passed on to you. So, when you stand by the sea and feel a sudden shiver for no reason, don't be surprised. That isn't just you feeling afraid. That is your ancestors and your DNA reminding you. 359 million years ago, there was something in this water. It didn't need to be huge. 4 meters long was enough. It didn't need to be fast. It just needed strong explosive power. It only needed a mouth larger than its own body, and a pair of bony plates that could bite through anything. Scientific research in 2023 tells us that while the Dunkleosteus wasn't as long as we imagined, it remained the most terrifying hunter in the Devonian oceans. With its smaller body, larger mouth, and stronger bite force, it proved one truth. In the arena of evolution, it's not about how big you are, but how deadly your weapons are. This is the true story of the Dunkleosteus, an epic about fear, evolution, and survival. A legend rewritten by science.